When we were in high school, we gave two of the most memorable speeches in student government history.
I'm Alexandra from Poland. Let's talk about that.
Good Mythical Morning.
Today's episode is brought to you by Catullus, the guys with the goods. We don't have any of the goods with us right now while we're traveling in North Carolina, but you can sign up for email deals and have a free catalog sent to your house by following the links in the description.
That's right, we are still in North Carolina, and we are in our French classroom from high school that is now Coach Gage's history classroom. He was our teacher then, but his room was over there.
Oui.
And now...
That's yes in French.
I thought you needed to take a bathroom break.
I recall very little. Actually, I recall nothing from French class. I knew that anyway. I knew oui was like a French thing before I took French. And that's still all I know.
Studying French tends to make me very sleepy. And so I remember being very sleepy and sleeping.
And your name was Laurent. Laurent.
Let's continue to go down this trail of memories here. Being in this place, breathing in the smells, scent.
The smell of teenagers.
The scent is one of the best triggers of memory there is. Mm-hmm. You did know that?
Yeah.
Don't act like you knew that.
Nostalgia.
At least throw me a bone occasionally, like you're learning something.
I know a lot of things, man.
He didn't know that, well, but maybe he did. I don't even care if you
Smell
know
is the strongest sense tied to memory.
My point is, let's remember who we were as high schoolers and share it with these people.
And teenagers smell the same now as they did then.
Yeah, like they just came from the gym. Or yesterday they were in the gym class and then they didn't shower.
It's not a good smell.
No, it's the smell of angst. It's the
smell of nervous energy.
Yeah, I re-achieved the nervous energy when I came back in through the doors.
Yeah,
I re-achieved it. I'm constantly achieving that. So let's talk about who we were as high schoolers. Share it with you. Feel free in the comments to share who you were as a high schooler or what defines you if you're a high schooler now. If you're into that, defining yourself.
I would say that we were known for the term shenanigans is probably a good word because that implies that...
Isn't that a restaurant?
I think that's Bennigan's, actually. Oh. But we should open up shenanigans and compete with Bennigan's.
Plan B.
Yeah. But you would expect things to be wrong with your food. Oh, there's a fake roach in my mashed potatoes. Shenanigans.
Little shenanigans.
So anyway, we were known for shenanigans, and I use that word because it implies that we weren't like real bad kids. It wasn't like...
Oh, we were good kids.
We weren't like
good kids.
Popping gats in people's heads and stuff.
They're good kids. They just like to cut up. That's
we were just
all.
Doing fun stuff.
They like to mix things up a little bit and keep the teachers on their toes, and they wear a path to the principal's office. I'm telling you, there is a path.
Who's this talking
for those boys? It's kind of your mom mixed with...
Like just a random
secretary.
Teacher? Okay. Well, one of the things that I had the privilege of doing in my U.S. history class, now this is a U.S. history classroom, but when I was in my U.S. history class, Miss Ennis was our teacher, great teacher.
I was in the class with you.
Yes, you were in the class. And we had a lot of fun with her, and she did a lot of creative projects, and she let us do a lot of things. But so I had this idea. I don't remember who we were studying. It was some figure in history, but I said,
"Oh, really?"
I said, "Listen, Miss Ennis, I have a encyclopedia on tape at home that talks about this particular guy, and I would like to bring it in and play it for the class." And she's like, "Okay." Well, I did not have an encyclopedia on tape. But what I did is I went home and I recorded myself speaking in a British accent.
That night.
All about this guy. And I made up all this stuff that wasn't true about him. Just ridiculous. I don't remember any of them, but it was just the type of stuff that I might come up with in like a future recording to Rhett. Just things that obviously thoughts, ridiculous things about this guy's hobbies and the women that he had been, married and stuff.
You did not tell me you were doing this.
I told no one.
It was interesting that you would think it would be the type of thing that maybe you'd get me in on it and we would do it together because we create things together now. But this is just something you did.
Well, while we were in high school, your voice hadn't changed yet. And so if I got you involved in this, you'd be like, "I'm going to get on this thing and I'm going to talk with him too." And then it would have just given the whole thing away. I didn't want you in on it because you'd get, and then when I played it in class,
wasn't going to be obvious.
You'd start giggling. Well, guess what happened? The next day I come in, I say, "Miss Ennis, I've got that tape." I put it in the tape recorder and I begin playing it.
I remember this.
And slowly the class begins to realize that this is Rhett. the smarter kids began to realize it was me, and they just started laughing. They started. Miss Ennis did not know that it was a joke, and she says, "He does. That man does sound funny, doesn't he?"
And she's watching now, and it's dawning on her.
Oh, she doesn't watch Good Mythical Morning, so I apologize, Miss Ennis, for that. Actually, I don't.
You just called her menace.
I think it was pretty fun. Actually,
she was not a menace. She was a great teacher.
She was a great teacher.
Miss Kelly Smith, she was our freshman year English teacher, and she was young. She was a very, very pretty woman.
Yes.
And she had won a Mitsubishi 3000 GT.
Oh yeah.
So she's pretty young teacher, blonde hair, drove a Mitsubishi 3000 GT.
Yeah.
I had a crush on her. So what was I going to do? I was going to hide myself in her podium. And then it sounds like I'm going to look up her skirt.
Yeah, whoa.
Whoa.
What was the plan here?
I wasn't going to look up her skirt. I actually didn't think much about my shenanigans. I just did them spur of the moment. So with zero planning, I remember I hid down in her podium. And then she comes in.
I also recall this.
And everybody in the room is kind of laughing. And she sees me in the podium. It wasn't much of a joke there. And it had a door on it.
She didn't laugh.
She shut the door. And then she laughed. And she put something in front of the door. And she locked me in the podium the entire class.
Mm-hmm. And taught the whole class while you were in there. And I remember for a couple of minutes you were like, hey,
I'm
let
in
me
here.
out.
Isn't this funny?
And then
I'm really doing something awesome.
And then I remember the moment, 15 minutes in a class, when I knew you had resigned yourself to it and you just got quiet.
She just kept going. And she did it to teach me a lesson. And, I never got in her podium after that, but I don't know if she taught me much of a lesson beyond that. Because I continued to cut up a lot.
What we wanted to get to, though, is our student government speeches,
Now, this is junior year.
Yes, and we had a good friend, Michael Juby, who we still stay in touch with. Very smart guy, like the smartest of all of us that kind of hung out together. Mm-hmm. And we knew that he was an ambitious guy. We were like, Michael is like, I'm running for president of student body. And we were like, all right. You be the president, and we'll be your cabinet.
Yeah,
the two of us.
So I was like, I'll be vice president,
and I'll be secretary.
And you can be whatever,
or treasurer. I don't even know. I was
a loser. You wanted to do something that required no effort.
Are you going to set it up this way? Okay. Well, let's just continue the story. You called me a loser.
I know where this is going. I got to get my shots in early.
Yeah, we decide. I didn't care what office we were running from because I was like, the whole idea was both of us wanted to be able to get in front of the entire school. The only way that you could address the entire high school was
run for office.
So I was like, this is my big chance. This is the chance I've been looking for, because we relish those kinds of opportunities to be able to get up in front of have the whole high school's attention. So my idea for my speech was I was going to say that I didn't play the guitar at all, first of all. I never had picked up a guitar, but I got a guitar, and I said, I'm going to sing a song.
This must have been sophomore year then.
Yeah, it was not, because, junior year is when I started playing guitar, but it was right before that, so sophomore year.
Yep.
So I said, I'm going to bring a guitar, and I'm going to say that Merle Haggard has written our favorite country artist at the time and still today.
Like anyone in the room would know who Merle Haggard is, first of all.
They did. It's Harnett Central. They knew who he was. He had written a song to endorse me. He had written it to endorse me, and I was then going to sing it. And I got up there, and I brought the house down, man. You remember this?
You couldn't even play guitar.
I couldn't play guitar.
I'll give it to you.
I just would strum an open E, and then I sang something. I mean, it was probably horrible, but everyone thought it was great. I won in a landslide.
You didn't even tune the guitar.
No, I didn't know how to tune. I got. I learned later. I got 87% of the vote.
I got up after you.
Secretary of the school.
I gave my vice president speech, and like I said, I put no planning in anything. It's like, you know what? It'll just come to me. So that morning, as I was putting on my clothes, I remember I had a black T-shirt in my closet. And at that moment, a few minutes before going to school, I said, I'm going to cut 2 holes in this T-shirt and make it into a mask. And I'm going to be the dark horse candidate. Now, I hope I don't have to tell you that the dark horse candidate is the candidate who comes out of nowhere,
right,
and wins the election. Oh my gosh, who is this Link Neal running for vice president? I've never heard of him before, but certainly I'm voting for him. He's the dark horse candidate. So I get up there.
It's a smart. It was a clever idea. I gotta give you that.
I put the T-shirt with the 2 holes over my eyes.
Now that was a bad idea.
And I get up to the podium.
You look like an executioner.
Hello, I am the dark horse candidate.
Can I now, as you begin this, can I?
And after that, I don't even know what I said.
Well, I'm going to explain what happened from my perspective because Michael, of course, just the consummate professional. You know,
You're both seated on stage watching.
Yeah, well, Michael does a great speech, like a real speech, like this guy's going to be somebody kind of speech.
Yeah.
I give the like shenanigans speech to get all the popular vote.
Yeah.
And then we sit down up on stage. And then you go up to the podium, and I see you put the thing on, and then you begin, and I look out, and you say the thing about the dark horse candidate, and it's crickets. Absolutely. And I don't mean that like there's one person that's kind of smiling. I mean total silence, and like
a few people were evacuating.
People were confused, and me and Michael were we were losing it on stage. I couldn't contain myself, but I didn't want to embarrass you or anything. You were doing a good job of that on your own.
I did not intend to do anything that had any racial overtones, but I think people thought I was doing something that had some sort of racist overtone. I was not thinking that at all. A dark horse candidate is just somebody who
comes out of nowhere
and wins. But the problem is, you can't be the dark horse candidate if you don't win. So I thought I was a shoo-in. But that is not the case, sadly. I lost.
And
I lost miserably.
But that's not the thing is that you went on for 12 to 15 minutes. you continued because you didn't have a bailout switch. You didn't have an eject button.
I thought if I went deper, they would start to appreciate it.
And it started getting really uncomfortable. Like everybody was like,
I'm uncomfortable now. Like
everybody was squirming and kind of like, oh, what is he trying to say? And what? If I went past laughter and I started figuring out how could I get you out of there, but I couldn't because then I would have had to get up.
So you didn't rescue me in order to teach me a lesson, just like Kelly Smith. It's a series of people trying to teach me lessons that I'm never getting.
Yeah.
You're not learning through. Okay, if you think it was a great idea, please tell me in the comments. Again, crickets. Okay, let's end this episode of Good Mythical Morning by pulling up the invisible wheel of mythicality.
Really getting used to this
spinning it.
Invisible wheel. It's not as exciting though, because it kind of just seems like we know what it's going to land on.
Yeah, we do.
Because what it's going to land on is cheerleaders for the world's worst team.
Okay, so we're like high school cheerleaders. This is good. Go, team, the worst team ever, but you are loved by us. Go.
Don't get hurt. Just be happy you can do this.
Yeah, it wouldn't be worth it. You know you're going to lose, so
everyone's a winner. Everyone's a winner.
Don't blow your hibiscus. Is that a part of the body?